Hello everyone and welcome to what I'm quite upset to say is probably one of our last Random Encounters videos, with the exception of the live stream on Friday, but I'll go into detail later on. With the impending release of First Nights at Freddy's now, on Friday, I thought we should do a video on that too, considering that we got a small sneak peek of it at the end of Virus, which, if you haven't seen already my reaction video for it, you should totally do so by clicking on the icon on the top right of the screen, either now or at the end of this video. So, let's see what we can do with this. First of all, Virus actually proved a couple of our theories correct, which is a pleasant surprise. Well, more or less anyway. Obviously, the most noticeable one is the whole MatPat is Henry and used as Afton thing, along with the fact that this scene, with the wrench, also looks pretty similar to this scene in the Fazbear location, which, like I said last time, may be an Afton death scene, because we do know from Glitchtrap that Emily did kill Afton.
The lunatic you're thinking of is Henry Emily, William Afton's disreputable partner. He offed your uncle years ago, and he's been using Freddy Fazbear's to scratch his every sadistic itch.
Another thing that was confirmed was the reason that Glitchtrap was built. Now, this next one was kind of true but not entirely. Around 2 videos ago, we theorized that Glitchtrap was built as therapy for Henry after the death of Charlie. So, we were wrong about that. However, we were right that it was therapy for a grieving family member, in this case, Afton, after the car accident takes his wife and 4-year-old. So, that's also another thing we've done right. Now, let's make our predictions. In reference to the teaser shown at the end of Virus, there's a few things we can talk about. For example, this scene with the circus baby lying on the floor. Evidently, she's injured, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is that blood? Because whatever it is Gwen's spitting out of her mouth, it definitely doesn't look fun. You can also see that she's holding on to presumably Mr. Hugs. That, along with the fact that the floor has the same checkered tiles, clearly tells us that this is happening in the office, most likely right after she drives a car into Glitchtrap. One thing I'd like to mention in this scene is that the lighting in the room seems to have a purple or red tint to it. In Shadows of Agony, the room had a deep red tint when Vanny and Glitchtrap fought during the song, so I think Glitchtrap probably survived the car crash and takes on Baby in a one-on-one. However, something else that it could be trying to tell us is that Vanny isn't actually dead. Last time we saw her, Glitchtrap had her by the throat before presumably corrupting a code, but we never really get confirmation that she's dead per se, more just that her program was no longer running like it always is. For all we know, Glitchtrap could have just locked her away in the same way he had been for all those years, and the purple tint can symbolize that she's been weakened by Glitchtrap. It's all very meta. And you know what? As an editor's note, we also got this teaser for First Night, and guess who we can see in the background? Now, I'm not too sure if this shot was reused from Shadows of Agony, but if not, then we've actually done another thing correctly. As for the ending, Glitchtrap will unfortunately not be making out of this finale, because he is sadly not protected by plot armor. Also, he did kinda get hit by a car, which would have at the very least weakened him. As for Lizzie and Circus Baby, I think that Baby may end up killing Lizzie, before Glitchtrap promptly ends Baby too. The animatronics and other main characters are obviously going to survive, because this is a prequel series and they're already present in sequels. Or are they prequels? Whatever the original musicals are, it means that our Faz gang are going to make it out. But to be honest, I'm kind of clueless how things will turn out. We do know that Nate is going to show up again, and we even saw him in the teaser. On Twitter, RE posted about a soundtrack called I Go By Many Names, obviously referencing Evil Dirtbag, and just judging by the name of the file, it'll show up either at the end of the movie or during the Afton murder scene, but it's kinda hard to tell. So yeah, Ari has me stumped. Again. Next, let's talk about Henry Emily. Virus gave us confirmation that MatPat plays Henry instead of William, like we'd been thinking this entire time. But the last time we actually saw him in the flesh was back at the beginning of Shadows of Agony, right after Glitchtrap scares him away. Not to mention that he also didn't have hands last time, but hey, that's what you get after cutting them off. So, where has he been this entire time, and how do we expect things to play out for him in the ending? Well, like Glitchtrap said, Henry is unlikely to have gone to the police, mainly because he'd be afraid of them discovering who he really is, and also because he likes making money whilst doing some background things as well. So, chances are that he's been hiding away, probably at his home whilst trying to figure out his next move. Previously, we've theorised that he's going to surgically attach the hands of the safety inspector onto his own wrists, but thanks to this comment by YoProStar, we now know this will not happen. But if this is the case, then what is his plan? He can't exactly walk around town without his hands anywhere. Well, every other time we see him wearing these thick black gloves, as opposed to the small brown ones attached to the suit that real Afton wears. Being completely honest, this one had me stumped for quite a while. But going back to the past gives us what may be a hint. Before, there was a rather popular theory that he would have animatronic hands to replace his original ones, but that quickly died down after the surgical attachment became the leading theory. Well, what if this theory was on the right track after all? Since we know he has safety inspector's hands bagged up, he might use them as a casing for his animatronic hands. As for why, I genuinely have no clue as to why he would want to cut his hands off, other than the fact that he'd be able to no longer be tied to crimes via fingerprints. But other than that, there's not really any benefit to dehanding yourself. So goodbye Henry, and I guess we'll just have to see why he decided to do such a thing. I do have a feeling he'll be showing up towards the end though, maybe after Glitchtrap is defeated. He may end up killing the restaurant inspectors as well, but that's just me guessing at this point. I want to talk about William Afton a tad bit more, considering how lore impactful he is. We know that he's being played by the one and only Teasers, and we've slowly been seeing more of him during the lead up to First Nights. Last video, we theorised that it was Henry who killed Afton before assuming his identity, which turned out to be correct, and that we would actually get to see the scene. At the end of Virus, when we get a teaser for First Nights, we do actually see something that may turn out to be an Afton death scene. In this clip, we can see William Afton standing in a security office in what we can assume to be another Fazbear's location, with a particularly menacing Henry Emily behind him. Well, what points me to the conclusion that this is an Afton murder scene? Well, take a look at Henry. His posture is tall, dominating, malicious even. And then when you back it up with the fact that he's wearing the Fredbear costume, which, thanks to the short Welcome to Fredbear's musical we got, we know that the costume is actually Afton's signature style. So, in this scene, Henry is most likely about to take over Afton's life. Remember that other image I talked about last video? The one where Henry had a wrench in what appears to be the same office as the one he's standing in here? I'm almost certain that these two scenes are the same, and that the wrench is Henry's weapon of choice. Another short clip I think ties in with this is that thanks to yet another FNAF Musical ARG. We have this clip of Teasers acting as Afton on set. In the clip, he walks into the same office and says something about locking up for the night. Now, there's two things I'd like to point out here. Number one is that the office appears to be very reminiscent of the FNAF 1 office from the game. You even have the classic Celebrate poster hung up on the wall. Number two is that Afton is locking up for the night, and he's likely to be alone, so who on earth is he talking to with such an open personality? Well, if you thought that he and Henry were partners before being murdered by him, I think that Mr. Emily is the only plausible option here. Just a thought to ponder on. And finally, I'd like to talk about how the ending will all tie in with the original FNAF musicals. Many times, RE has stated how they want the ending of the prequel supercut to tie in with the original supercut. But the more I think about it, the harder I find it is to happen. After all, there is a massive time gap between First Nights and Night 1. The most likely way I can see it happening is through Nate. We do know from leaked scripts and this teaser that Nate will be making a final appearance during the ending of First Nights, post-virus. During Night 3's song, Nate mentioned that he saw a bear start eating a face.
Saw kids burst in tears, a bear start eating the face.
So, for all we know, we may finally be seeing that scene at the ending. Instead of it being a child, perhaps it's Elizabeth, and that's her death scene. But that's all for today's video. Thank you everyone for watching. make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's video. I've linked Random Encounters' channel in the description as always, and additionally, we'll be doing a live stream this Friday on the premiere of First Nights at Freddy's, a reaction video actually, so make sure to pop in for that. I'll leave the link in the description. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.